Leo, here's the truth. The biggest shock of your year is just around the corner, but what's waiting on the other side might change everything. And you won't want to miss it. Let me ask you something straight up. Have you been feeling like something's shifting under the surface? Like your routines don't fit anymore, the same conversations are draining, and the things that used to work just don't? That's not random. That's not you being dramatic or restless. That's alignment in motion. You're here right now, not because of luck or YouTube's algorithm, but because something in you, even if quietly, is ready for what's next. And trust me, this message was already written in your stars. Today, September 28th, the energy is sharp, alive, and undeniably real. We're in the middle of a powerful cosmic configuration, the moon in Virgo, the sun in Libra, and a rare trine between Uranus and Mercury shaking up your perspective and, honestly, your entire inner world. Now, here's where it gets personal. There's a part of you maybe long buried, maybe just waking up, that's ready to be seen, heard, and fully alive. But the path to that version of you isn't paved with comfort. It starts with disruption. So yes, a shock is coming. It might hit you in your career, your relationships, your self-image, or even your body. But this isn't destruction. It's not punishment. It's the divine blueprint of your life, gently or maybe not so gently, pushing you forward. The question is, will you move with it? Or will you cling to what used to be, hoping it still fits? Listen, I'm not here to sugarcoat. Change is messy. Breakthroughs rarely feel like blessings while you're in them. But what I've seen in the cosmos, in clients, in my own story, is that when Leo stops holding back, when Leo finally lets go of needing permission, that's when everything shifts. You were never meant to play small. You weren't built for background roles. You carry the sun your soul was born to shine. But here's the catch: to step fully into that light, you have to walk through the part that feels unknown. And that's what today is about. So if you've been feeling tension in your chest, vivid dreams, strange signals, repeating numbers like 3, 8, 22, or 27, take a breath. Those are not coincidences. That's your spirit preparing for liftoff. I want to pause here and say something important. Thank you for being here. For watching. For sharing your energy with this space. Every comment, every like, every subscriber helps grow something sacred, not just a channel, but a community of souls waking up to their power. And truly, I mean this, I am grateful for you. Your presence here allows me to continue sharing these messages that can change lives, starting with yours. So here's what I want you to do now. If you feel even a flicker of resonance, if this message hits something real, don't just scroll on. Leave a comment below to confirm it. Let the universe hear it through your voice. Tell me what brought you here today. Let's make this moment count. Because Leo, what's coming isn't small. And if you stay with me until the end of this message, you'll see exactly why the reward you're stepping into will be bigger than you imagined. And maybe, just maybe, it's already on its way. Stay here, you'll want to hear what's next. Leo, there's something about the quiet before change that often gets misunderstood. We're taught to fear the stillness, to question the silence, to fix what's cracking. But what if the stillness isn't the absence of direction? What if it's the sacred pause before your soul exhales something true? What if that tightness you've been feeling in your chest, that vague sense that something is about to shift, isn't anxiety but preparation. This is not random. That odd dream you had. The conversation that didn't sit right. The sense that you're standing at the edge of something invisible, something that doesn't yet have a name, it's all energy. And energy doesn't lie. It whispers, it nudges, it vibrates quietly until you're willing to listen. You see, September 28th isn't just another date. It's a pressure point in your cosmic journey. A moment when the parts of you that have been on autopilot start to blink awake. That's why certain routines are starting to feel lifeless. That's why old roles, once necessary, now feel like costumes you're done wearing. That's why your spirit, your fire is flickering for more. You're not broken. You're becoming. And like any becoming, it starts with an unraveling. There is divine intelligence in disruption. Not everything that falls apart is meant to be mourned. Some things collapse so that you can stop carrying what was never yours to begin with. Think of a snake shedding its skin. The skin was once protective. It served a purpose. But hold on to it too long, and it becomes suffocating. That's where you are now, not at the end, but at the edge of renewal. And your soul knows this. You may have been taught to associate change with danger. But not all danger is destructive. Sometimes, it's just the feeling of boundaries dissolving. Of outdated versions of yourself being stripped away, not as punishment, but as a sacred return. The parts of you that are fading right now, they're not leaving because you failed. They're leaving because you've outgrown them. In moments like this, I often think of how fire works. It doesn't just destroy, it clarifies. It burns away the dead brush so that new life can rise from soil that's finally breathing again. You, Leo, are ruled by the sun itself. Your fire isn't meant to be extinguished. It's meant to be refined. Redirected. Rekindled from the inside out. That feeling of unease? That's your inner flame asking for oxygen. And when I reflect on this kind of transformation, I can't help but think of how even the strongest hearts can feel unsure when the ground begins to tremble. But I also know this. You were never meant to live a life that keeps you safe but silent. The real risk isn't change, it's choosing to stay unchanged in a life that no longer reflects who you are becoming. You were not created to play it small. The discomfort you're feeling isn't a signal to retreat, it's an invitation to rise. You are not falling apart. You're being lit from within. And just like the phoenix, it's only in the ashes that the full miracle of your rebirth begins. So, if you've been waiting for a sign to finally let go of that one thing, that version of yourself, that role, that mask, this is it. Not because it's easy, but because your spirit can't afford to stay buried any longer. The truth is, Leo, this isn't the end of anything. This is the divine middle. The sacred in-between. And something extraordinary is coming through you, not when everything's perfect, but because you've finally said yes to the flame. Now, ask yourself, if I weren't afraid to be seen in full light, what would I become? Leave a comment and speak that truth. Let this moment be the match. Sometimes, the things that shake us the most are the very things that redirect us towards something better, something more honest, more aligned, and more alive. You see, Leo, when Uranus and Mercury align like they do today, we're not talking about soft awakenings. We're talking about lightning bolt energy, sudden clarity, unexpected communication, a revelation that drops into your lap at what feels like the wrong time. But it isn't. It's perfect timing, just not the kind we usually plan for. Maybe you recently received a message that unsettled you not because it was cruel, but because it was true. Maybe someone said something you've needed to hear for a long time, but it hit harder than expected. Maybe a relationship shifted, or a plan you were relying on just dissolved. In astrology, these aren't accidents. They're activations. When the ground beneath your feet shakes, it's often the universe helping you realize that you've been standing on something that wasn't as solid as you believed. This is where most people panic in the uncertainty, the mess, the what now phase. But what if that shock wasn't the end, but the mirror? What if it's there to reflect something sacred, the truth of what you actually want, and who you're becoming when the roles and routines fall away? Shock strips away illusions. It pulls back the curtain. And while it can feel cruel in the moment, it's often the fastest way to clarity. You might feel like you've been blindsided, but take a breath and look closer. What was really lost? A story you've outgrown? A connection that required too much shrinking? A plan based on someone else's expectations? This is the moment where the reward begins to reveal itself, not wrapped in glitter or certainty, but in raw, honest awakening. The gift isn't comfort. It's clarity. And that clarity opens doors you didn't even realize were locked. What I want you to understand is this: you're not being punished. This isn't karma coming to bite you, or the universe picking on you. It's alignment doing its job, clearing out what no longer matches your energy so you can step into the version of yourself you've been quietly growing toward. The discomfort? It's your body's way of saying, something needs to change. Think of it like tuning an instrument. When something's out of tune, you don't throw the whole thing away. You listen. You adjust. And eventually, that discord turns into harmony. That's what this phase is, a spiritual retuning. Not to break you, but to fine-tune your frequency so the people, places, and opportunities meant for you can finally find you. The thing is, Leo, you've never needed to be perfect, only present. Present enough to recognize when something isn't working, and courageous enough to not pretend otherwise. You are not a failure for breaking down. You're a soul in motion. And motion, real motion, often looks like chaos at first. So if things feel like they're falling apart right now, know this: you're not lost. You're just being reassembled. And the next version of you is being built through these very pieces: the messy middle, the moments of doubt, the breathless in-between. If any part of this hits home, I invite you to comment below and share what's shifting for you. Speak it. Name it. Let the comment be your declaration that you see the mirror and you're ready to step through it. That's how the healing begins. That's how you call in the reward. When the energy around you shifts, your body doesn't wait for your mind to catch up, it responds first. That tightness in your neck, the tension in your shoulders, the random fatigue or restlessness you can't explain, those are not just symptoms of stress. They're signals. Quiet messengers from your deeper self. You don't need to figure it out in one go. You just need to notice. To slow down enough to pay attention. Because the truth is, your body has always been your first compass. Not a map someone hands you, but an inner instrument tuned to the frequency of who you are and where you're headed. Right now, especially under the current cosmic weather, that sensitivity is amplified. And Leo, because you're ruled by the sun, the very source of life force, your body tends to feel energetic shifts more vividly than most. This isn't a flaw. It's a gift. But it's one that asks for presence. Have you been waking up from dreams that feel symbolic but hard to explain? Maybe dreams of water, falling, light, or unfamiliar places that feel oddly familiar? Those aren't random. Dreams are the subconscious speaking in metaphor, especially during periods of energetic recalibration. Water can signal emotional flow or purification. Falling may represent surrender or a needed release of control. Light is often clarity trying to break through confusion. When we ignore those dreams or brush them off as meaningless, we silence a voice that's been trying to guide us without words. Then there are the numbers. Have certain digits been showing up repeatedly? A time stamp on your phone. A receipt total. A license plate. These repeating numbers like 3, 8, 22, and 27 carry frequency codes. Not in a magical sense, but as a form of vibrational pattern that your consciousness is starting to align with. 3 often points to communication not just with others, but with yourself. Are you speaking your truth? Are you creating, expressing, releasing? 8 is the number of flow, especially in finances or karmic cycles. It asks, where are you blocking abundance by holding on too tightly or fearing what comes next? 22 is a builder's number tied to vision, mission, and the kind of legacy that isn't built overnight. When this number appears, it's usually because your purpose is asking to take up more space. And 27, that one tends to show up when a soul cycle is closing, and something deeper is ready to be integrated. But all of these signs, the body, the dreams, the numbers, are part of one larger invitation, to listen. To turn down the volume of the world and lean into what's already stirring inside. So often we're taught to do more, fix it, make a plan. But there's wisdom in not rushing. There's clarity in staying with the discomfort long enough to understand it. We don't hear the truth in chaos. We hear it in stillness, the kind that most of us avoid. But if you can sit with what's rising instead of running from it, you'll begin to notice how all these pieces start to connect. The tension in your shoulders is not random. It might be years of holding in what you've wanted to say. That recurring number is not just coincidence. It's a breadcrumb back to your path. So let this be your gentle reminder. Your body knows before your mind does. Your dreams speak when your voice is quiet. And the universe is not trying to confuse you. It's trying to align you. If you've been sensing these signs, share them in the comments below. You don't need to explain it all, just acknowledge what's showing up. That simple act of awareness is the first step toward deep, lasting alignment. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that change only happens when you do something big. We live in a world that praises bold moves, radical shifts, and dramatic decisions, but the truth is, lasting transformation usually begins in the quiet, consistent choices you make in your everyday life. If you've made it this far into this journey, you already know, your energy is shifting. Something inside of you is loosening, waking up, and asking for more. But more doesn't have to mean louder, bigger, or faster. It just needs to be real. When the soul is preparing for something greater, it often starts by asking you to get honest with yourself. Not in a harsh way, but in a soft, steady whisper that says, Are you living in alignment with what you truly value? That's where small, mindful actions come in. Because they're not about controlling outcomes, they're about signaling intention. Let's start with your body. If your throat has been tight lately, or your voice feels stuck physically or emotionally, a warm cup of ginger tea with honey can do more than soothe. Ginger opens energy pathways. Honey carries vibrational light. Together, they don't just calm, they clear. You're not just sipping tea. You're making space for your voice to come forward. Or maybe you've been feeling scattered in the mornings, waking up heavy before the day even begins. Try taking 10 minutes, not for productivity, not for planning, but just to breathe. Slow, intentional breathing resets the nervous system. It brings you back to your center, where clarity lives. And clarity, Leo, is your power. You don't need to have all the answers. But if you can come home to your breath, you'll remember what matters. Then there's the work you do, or the work you've convinced yourself you should do. Take 5 minutes today to write down which tasks drain you and which ones feed your fire. Ask yourself honestly, am I trading my time for something I believe in, or am I just surviving the checklist? Your time is your energy. And energy is currency. Where you spend it tells the universe what you value. In your relationships, be willing to express something you've been holding back, even if it's only in your journal at first. Maybe it's a truth you've swallowed to keep the peace. Maybe it's a need you haven't dared to speak. Whatever it is, your heart deserves room to breathe. Start by asking, what needs to be seen in me, not just by others, but by myself? And if you're someone who works with energetic tools, lean into them. A piece of citron beneath your pillow doesn't just symbolize abundance, it invites you to remember your creative power, your worth, your ability to receive. Sunstone supports your courage and confidence, especially when your fire feels dim. These aren't just pretty stones. They're energetic allies, waiting for your intention to activate their support. Music, too, is a powerful medicine. Listening to solfeggio frequencies like 432 Hz or 528 Hz at night isn't just for relaxation, it's about retuning your body to its natural rhythm. You don't need a spiritual degree or a perfect routine. You just need the willingness to create space for your alignment. None of these actions require massive effort. But they do require attention. Intention. Presence. And that's what tells the universe, I'm no longer waiting passively. I'm participating in my own transformation. If any of this resonates with you, I invite you to pick one small thing today, just one, and do it with full presence. Then come back here and share what you chose in the comments. Not for validation, but as a way to root your decision into something real. That's how change begins. Quietly. Intentionally. Powerfully. If you've made it this far, then something inside you has already shifted, even if you don't fully see it yet. The truth is, most turning points in life don't come wrapped in certainty. They arrive quietly, in the form of questions that echo through your heart and refuse to leave you alone. Questions that aren't here to torment you, but to open a doorway one only you can walk through. This is one of those moments. A crossroads not made of big, dramatic choices, but of quiet, honest reflection. Leo, you've always carried a fire within you, but right now, that fire is being asked to burn with purpose. Not just to light up a room or to impress others, but to guide you back to your own truth. And that truth can only surface when you're willing to sit still for a moment and ask yourself the real questions. The ones that reach beneath the surface, beneath the noise, beneath what the world expects of you. If you weren't afraid, what would you do today? Let that question land. Really sit with it. Because fear doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers in the form of hesitation. Of staying busy to avoid what matters. Of convincing yourself that now isn't the right time. But what if now is the right time? What if there's no safer moment coming? What if the window you've been waiting for is already open, and all that's needed is your willingness to step through? If you trusted that you are worthy, what would you finally let go of? We hold on to so much, often out of habit or guilt or survival. But worthiness changes everything. When you remember that you don't have to earn your place in the world, that you are already enough, it becomes easier to set down the things that were never meant for you. That friendship that drains you. That role you've been playing. That expectation you never agreed to. What are you still carrying just because you haven't questioned whether you need to? If you believed that this moment was sacred, how would you act differently? We're always waiting for the right sign, the right conditions, the right version of ourselves. But growth doesn't wait. Life doesn't wait. And neither should you. The energy of today is clear. Transformation doesn't require perfection, it only asks for presence. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to take the next true step. This is the power of conscious choice. Of choosing to respond instead of react. Of writing your own narrative instead of waiting for someone else to hand you a script. That's what alignment looks like. And no one can create it for you. But it can begin with you right here, right now. Write down your answers. Not in your head, but on paper. Let your hands move with intention. Let the words become real. You're not just thinking, you're activating something. You're naming it. Claiming it. And once you do that, you've already started the process of becoming. And if something in this message stirred you even gently, I invite you to leave a comment below. Not for me, but for you. Make it your declaration, your energetic signature, your sacred yes to the life that's calling you. Say it clearly, I am Leo. I do not fear the shock. I am ready to step into the reward that will leave me in awe. Let those words carry you forward. Let them become the beginning of your next chapter. You've come this far, don't stop here. Leo, the truth is, you don't need permission to change. You don't need a sign carved in the sky or a perfectly timed invitation. You are the sign. You are the light. You are the one you've been waiting for. And this moment, this exact breath you're taking right now is enough for everything to begin. September 28th didn't come to test you. It came to set you free. Free from the weight of old stories, old expectations, and old versions of you that never captured the full depth of your spirit. You weren't meant to play small. You weren't born to survive in fragments. You were made to live in full color, to speak with your full voice, to walk boldly in your full power even when the road ahead is unclear. Sometimes the universe sends a shock not to shake you apart, but to shake you awake. That disruption you've been fearing might just be the breakthrough that changes everything. And what's waiting on the other side of your courage? A life that matches your true energy. A reality that honors the fire you've been carrying inside all along. So now I want to ask you, what's one thing, just one, that you can say yes to today, even if it scares you a little? What would your next step look like if you trusted that your light was never too much, but exactly what this world needs? You've already done something powerful by showing up for yourself and this message. That means you're not only ready, you've already begun. But don't stop here. Let this be the first ripple in a new wave of momentum. Take what you've learned, what you've felt, and what has awakened inside you, and do something with it, no matter how small. Journal the truth you've been holding in. Speak a word you've been afraid to say. Rest deeply if your soul needs it. Or simply stand in front of the mirror and say, I'm not afraid to shine anymore. If something in this video resonated with you, I invite you to let me know in the comments. Share your truth. Speak it into this space. Let this be your declaration to the universe that you are ready. Not perfect, just ready. And sometimes, that's all it takes for the magic to move. And if this message held meaning for you today, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, and share it with someone who may be standing at their own threshold. Your presence here helps this space grow, and it means more than you know. You are not alone. Your light is not too bright. And your reward isn't waiting for you to have it all figured out. It's waiting for you to take that next brave step, even if it's small. The shock may have been loud. But trust me, the reward will be louder.